internet, you can get a SIP account from an account provider and configure it. So we don't. One of our partners, Zorcom, is Israeli-based company, they do it. We develop all the software inside the box. So the unified communications.
You also mentioned Digium.
I'm sorry?
You mentioned Digium a little while ago. You partner with them or
Digium? Yeah, well, we haven't partnered with Digium, but we're pretty close to them because we develop, they're open source too, they're basing Asterisk. And our system is based on Asterisk. All our call control, everything. We've just added a lot of value on top, and we are talking to Digium pretty actively. They're friends of ours. Yeah, we are basically using the UI and everything is running on the server, inside it. There's actually a whole full-fledged computer inside it and having the hard disk and everything, so we're running everything in there, and the UI is basically a way to access and configure the box and everything. Our entire unified communication platform.
So it's just basically a lamp stack inside the box as far as what you're connecting to now then?
Well, it's quite a bit more actually. If you look at that,
Yeah.
if you want to see it, we have, I guess some of our people will not be happy in getting into this stuff, but if you really want to know, we're running IAM, integrating with zero-conf systems, and we're running bubblegum for another zero-conf thing, and we have routers, we're running IMAP, and we're even running a RIP daemon to handle some of the communications because the box creates its own VLAN and for auto provisioning the phones, so we actually handle quite a bit with that.
So you did develop Druid, your company?
Yep, we developed it.
You're the maintainers of it. Okay.
We are developers and the maintainers. So we pretty much developed it. We just released it open source a week back. So this is the first time we ever open sourced this technology. So we developed it, and it's dual license. So if anyone wants to contribute or wants to commercially license our technology, we have a dual commercial license which limits us to from basically liabilities and stuff. It protects us. It protects the open source developers too, because what the license says is that if you're contributing code into our thing, you have to sign a waiver. So the code then, it's obviously coming from you and belongs to us. So it's not that there's any copied code in there or takes care of all kinds of liabilities. So we can commercially license this technology ourselves.
So is there functionality that's in the commercial version that's not in the open source version?
Well, we don't think of it that way, as in we don't try to keep technology out from the open source version by force or anything. But our path, the two paths that these softwares are taking are actually independent. The open source software is handled by the open source community. So if they feel they want some mashups, some kind of something else, and so we do help guide them a little bit, and they guide us, and so that takes its own path. It's community driven, whatever they want. While our closed source is driven by our customers. So if and enterprise needs, we have integration with Exchange, and we're working on integration with complete Active Directory integration. A lot of those features are not important to our open source users, because if there's open source user and running Active Directory, he's probably a big organization anyway. So it'll do him better to actually come and buy our commercial version. So where he gets support and everything. So
there is functionality that's in the
absolutely there is functionality
in the commercial license.
Yep.
It's not available in the open source.
No, absolutely. There is functionality, yes.
Are there any plans to resync the open source project with the commercial project, or are they
they're always
separate?
Well, they are actually driven by separate desires. So the open source thing is that we're not forcing things in there. It's based on what the community needs, what the community puts in, what we want to put in there. It's not, it's not about us trying to actually hold it separate. The philosophy is essentially separate. We are not trying to keep it separate. We're not trying to say that, this doesn't go in there. We took every single bit of code we had in there and open sourced. We didn't hold anything back. And we're not doing that right now either. So and the only thing here is that our closed source customers ask us for stuff. They say, we want Active Directory integration. Our open source customers, some of them don't want that. They want an interface for IP tables. They want to configure, they want to mash up with Google Maps to see where the calls are coming from. They want, their needs and wants are completely separate. So we actually cater to that separately. and we try to help them. We try to maintain the community. We try to try to moderate the community, and that's how we go about it. So anyway, getting into the code. We just go back into So this is our module or attendant. So this basically sets up the auto attendant stuff, and it's pretty easy to use. You can choose sounds, and actually there's another thing about this. The open source software version is kind of more cutting edge. It's actually more ahead of the closed source, to put it right, because the closed source version doesn't even use the latest version of Dojo and stuff that we actually base the open source on. It uses the older stuff, the more, as we consider stable. So this is actually updated almost every second day. I'm using Dojo 149, 102. So that's like the latest version of Dojo and pretty much everything else. So anyway, coming to it, we have a whole bunch of stuff. You can actually choose your sound. You can just, set up however you want it to. You can add actions, and you can do pretty much all this stuff. And then it also renders it back in. So let me show you that. You see here, and I just load this. I go to auto attendant. You notice there's one get happening here, but that's the JavaScript. You notice there's a lot of JSON being exchanged back and forth. Like these are the names of the users and stuff like that that's needed by this interface. So if we go even further, we decide to edit one of these. There's a whole bunch of JSON coming in from different PHP scripts. Again, you see here, this is like a different script. This is a different script. Again, this is the same script but different functions. So we're getting a lot of data from different sources, and this is all getting rendered using Dojo. So it creates the interface and basically sets up all of this. So let me get into the code again. Look at the interface code. This is how it is. There's no PHP in it. This is all JavaScript. Again, there's not much of it. In fact, most of the stuff is handled by Dojo widgets. They do data store and they render all kinds of things. So it's pretty much how it's handled. Then you come down to it and you see bit of JavaScript here because we want to do some specialized work, like we're actually taking this kind of information and actually rendering it into these multiple tab things. So if you have 6 of them, you need to actually render them. So doing some custom stuff. But it's all JavaScript. It's easy to manage. It's completely separate from anything else out there. And this is our PHP script. So these are action handlers which basically map, commands in our HTML JavaScript to actual commands in PHP. So if we go back to that, quickly, just want to show you something. So say we have one of these things like to-dos, get queues, or whatever. So we actually map that up here. So whatever save, get voice menu, these are mapped to these functions. Okay, get voice menu. So little handle right here. So again, we're saying, okay, this is a JSON function, and we're doing our processing, whatever we want to do. We're basically going down and right there, we're entering the JSON again. Add member, result. That's pretty much where the data goes out from, and it gets called by something wrong with my key. And that's how this interface gets rendered. So